I turned out to be my boss's secret obsession. I don't think I can do this anymore. The words just fall out of my mouth, barely louder than a breath, but they crash into the silence between us like shattering glass. I'm standing in Owen's living room, my shoes still by the door, keys clenched so hard in my fist that they might leave marks. He freezes. The intensity in his eyes flickers, but he doesn't say a word, just waits, like I'm the one pulling out the knife. I can't breathe, Owen. You're everywhere, all the time. I'm not living my life. I'm living yours. His jaw locks. Austin, I just want to protect you. That's not protection. It's control. I shake my head, tears stinging. You're in my apartment, my phone, my friendships. Nothing is mine anymore. He steps forward, stops short. I need you. I can't help it. I never hurt you. It does hurt, I say quietly. I can't stay if you keep doing this. I mean it. He looks wrecked. For once, not in control. I'll stop. I swear, just don't leave. I hesitate, chest aching, but manage to nod. Let me live my own life. Or I walk. He nods, quickly, desperate. Okay, anything, just stay. And for the first time, I wonder if I actually want to. 6 months ago. I still can't believe I landed this job. Day one at Stratos Tech, and everything feels surreal. The sunlit office, the expensive coffee, the views that stretch forever. But mostly it's Owen, my new boss. CEO by 26, always in a perfectly tailored suit, and somehow even hotter in person than all the articles warned. He catches my eye as I'm lost in my thoughts by the copy machine. Austin, right? He says, voice smooth. Settle in okay? Yeah, thanks. Just trying not to mess anything up, I joke, probably too fast. He smiles, all sharp angles and confidence. Don't worry, you'll fit in perfectly. By the afternoon, I'm buried in work I barely understand, but Owen keeps stopping by my desk, dropping little compliments. That's exactly what I was hoping you'd notice. Or, good instinct, Austin. I knew you'd be sharp. Every time I blush, it makes him smile wider. At 5, he pops his head in. Late here on your first day? He asks, glancing at my untouched bag. Need a ride home? Oh, no, that's okay. I can take the train. He shakes his head amused. The train's for people who don't work here. Come on, I insist. Before I know it, we're in his sleek black Tesla, talking music and takeout, him nodding along to some obscure band I mentioned offhand last week in my interview. At home, I get a congratulatory email from Owen, sent at 10:24 p.m. Great start today. You impressed more people than you realized. Rest up. Signed just with his initial. It feels good. Maybe too good. Sometimes he looks at me a beat too long, or remembers things I only said once. But then, who am I to question luck? Guys like me don't get bosses like him. 2 days later. On my third day at North Arc, Owen stops by my desk. He usually lives behind a frosted glass door, a legend pressed into his suit. But now, he's right here, leaning on the divider, eyes sharp. Austin, got a minute? His voice is smooth, but it feels like a command. My pulse jumps. Sure. He gestures for me to follow. I walk fast to keep up, nearly tripping over myself. In his office, Owen grins. Small, private. I looked over your project report. Great work. No one's picked up the system flaws that fast before. I try to say thanks and not sound 12. Just lucky, I guess. He laughs, low and warm. I doubt it's luck. Then weirdly he asks, how did your move go? Settling in okay? I hear you love Thai food. There's a new place 2 blocks down. You should try it. I blink. Did I even mention Thai food? Maybe in passing at lunch. Still, his attention is high. By the time I leave his office, grinning, I feel like I could take on the world. A few days later. It's almost 9 when I finally shut down my computer. Everyone else left hours ago, but as I hit the lights, I spot Owen in the hallway. He doesn't look surprised to see me. In fact, he's holding my favorite coffee order. "Long night?" he asks, smiling just a little too perfectly. "Yeah, didn't think anyone else was here," I say. My stomach does a weird flip. He gestures toward the elevator. "Come on, I'll drive you home. It's late." I hesitate, but he's already pushing the button, already handing me my coffee, already somehow knowing I take it black with 2 sugars, extra hot. As we ride down together, he mentions my neighbor, by name. "Mrs. Dorsey seems sweet. She gave you cookies the other day, right?" I freeze. I never told him that. He just looks at me, unreadable, and says, "If you need help with anything, you ask, okay?" For the first time, his attention doesn't feel like flattery. It feels like a lock clicking into place. I sip my coffee and say nothing for the rest of the ride. A week later. It starts small. Honestly, if I wasn't already feeling paranoid about the long hours and the constant pressure, maybe I would have laughed it off. The first text pops up at 7:42 a.m. on a Wednesday, right before my big presentation. The number isn't saved, just a random string, but the message is precise. "Don't worry about the pitch. You always sound confident in blue." I glance down at my shirt, sky blue, ironed in extra time because I'd been nervous about wrinkles. I haven't told anyone about the shirt, hadn't even planned on wearing it until this morning. I tell myself it's a prank, probably Dylan from accounting, right? But then the next day, another text. "Did you enjoy your run? Try the park trail tomorrow. The air is better." I almost drop my phone. I run late at night, earbuds in, hoodie up, just to clear my head. I don't post about it, and I'm careful not to mention it to coworkers. Now I feel my skin prickle all over just thinking about someone watching. I reply, "Who is this?" But all I get back is a winking emoji. 2 days pass. I tell myself to relax, to stop being weird, but then, right as I'm scrolling through a takeout menu in my kitchen, a new message. "Thai again tonight? Get the green curry. You'll like it." I slam my phone face down on the table and stare at the wall. My mouth goes dry. I've never felt so haunted in my own skin. That's the night I start double-checking the locks, even though I live in a locked apartment building. That weekend. It's Friday. I'm dead on my feet after a long week, seriously considering sleeping in my shoes. I dump my bag inside the door and head to the kitchen to chug water, but stop dead. There's a box on the counter. Small, matte black, no label, no wrapping. I stare at it, my brain refusing to click. Did I leave something here before work? Did I order something and forget it in my exhaustion? The box is heavy. I open it, peel back the tissue, and there it is, a fountain pen. Not just any pen, the exact model I've been eyeing for months. The one I stopped myself from buying after checking my sad bank account for the millionth time. It gleams in my hand, impossibly new. No note, nothing. My stomach knots. For a second, I actually call out, "Mom?" Even though she lives 2 states away. I call her, just in case. "Did you send me something?" She laughs. "Sweetie, you know I barely send birthday cards on time." I sit at my kitchen table, spinning the pen. Every sound in the apartment feels louder. I don't remember letting anyone in. I check the locks again. I go back through my email, my texts, my bank account. Nothing about a pen. Finally, I drop the box in a drawer, bury it under old takeout menus, and shut it tight. Maybe I'm overreacting, but I can't shake the feeling there's something or someone right behind the door. The next day. Saturday. I make it a rule to keep Saturdays just for myself. No coworkers, no emails, just quiet, anonymous wandering. Today, I venture out early, hoodie up, old jeans, and slip into Backstreet Books, my favorite hole-in-the-wall place 2 neighborhoods away from me. It's peaceful, packed with used books and old couches that smell like dust and espresso. I lose myself in the horror section, thumbing through a battered Stephen King. finally starting to let the week slip away. "Long time no see," someone says suddenly behind me. I turn, half expecting to see a barista or a student. Instead, there's Owen. Casual, confident, like he belongs here, in my safe place. He's in worn-in jeans, a dark t-shirt, holding a coffee from the shop's front counter. His hair's a little mussed in a way I've never seen at work. "Boss?" I blurt out, stupidly. My stomach twists up immediately. He shouldn't be here. He just smiles, relaxed, friendly, but there's something behind it. "Austin, I didn't know you were a reader. Good taste." He holds up his own book, some classic literature, of course. I try to play it cool. "What brings you to this part of town? Didn't peg you for a horror fan." He shrugs, takes a sip of coffee. "I like to wander. This place is interesting." Then he glances at the shelf. "You come here every Saturday?" The question's too pointed to be casual, and I don't know what to say. It hadn't occurred to me that anyone was keeping track of where I go on my days off. "Yeah, sometimes," I say, but my voice is thin. He watches me for a second longer than comfort allows. "Let me buy you a coffee," he says. I make some excuse about needing to call my mom and duck out fast, barely remembering to pay for my book. My heart thunders the whole walk home. All I can think about is how Owen looked totally at ease here in my quiet sanctuary. Like maybe it wasn't an accident at all. 2 weeks later. It's almost midnight, and the office is deserted. I stayed late to finish a quarterly report, the place echoing with the hum of computers and HVAC. I just wanted to drop off some files on Owen's desk and get out. He isn't here. His office is dark, except for the glow of his laptop, screen up, unlocked. I know I shouldn't, but something tells me to look. Just a quick glance to prove there's nothing weird going on, that all knots in my stomach are just in my head. But there's a folder on the desktop. Austin Markham. I freeze. My fingers shake as I click it open. Inside is a rabbit hole. Hundreds of photos I don't remember ever posing for. Me coming out of my apartment, on my morning run, laughing with a friend at a coffee shop, riding the elevator, from months ago. Some look like security cam footage. Others are obviously taken from someone's phone, close enough that it could have been anyone. Then there's a spreadsheet. It lists everywhere I've been, actions in my day, notes about phone calls, the tiniest scraps of my life cataloged without my knowledge. There are clipped screenshots, texts between me and Dylan, a calendar note about my move-in date, times I left my building, even comments I left on social media. My breath comes short and shallow. I scroll through pages and pages, a timeline of my entire life going back at least a year, things I barely remember myself. I slam the laptop shut, feel sick. I want to run, hide, erase myself from every corner of the internet and city. I think about every weird text, every accidental encounter, every present left just for me. It hits me all at once. This isn't luck. This wasn't chance. Owen was watching me, studying me. I'm not just another employee, I'm... What, exactly? A project? An obsession? The terror sticks to my ribs as I clutch the doorknob and force myself out of his office, praying he's not waiting in the shadows. The next day. I decide to run. Not just a daydream, not just a plan in my head. I actually start packing. I stuff clothes into a duffel, scan my apartment for anything that matters, and open my laptop to hunt for places to live. New city, new job, maybe somewhere with less rain and no one named Owen. It should be simple, right? I find listings that look perfect. Studio apartments, cozy walk-ups, places with brick walls and a view. I fill out application after application, hands shaking so much I have to retype half my info. I put in for jobs too, any openings that look even halfway legit. At first, it's normal. People say they'll be in touch, but then it gets weird. One application comes back almost instantly, position no longer available. Another doesn't answer at all. And when I try to call, the number's been disconnected. 3 of my emails bounce back as undeliverable. One landlord seems friendly over the phone until I tell him my name. He goes silent, then just hangs up. Another sends me a cryptic message. Apologies, the listing's been withdrawn. Good luck. When I go in person to look at a place, someone's waiting outside, leaning against a shiny black car in the rain, eyes hidden by sunglasses. I don't even know if it's Owen, but the feeling in my gut tells me not to stick around. On my way home, my phone buzzes. Unknown number. No need to run. Everything you need is here. The room seems to shrink around me. My keys nearly slip from my hand. I delete the message, but those words echo in my mind all night. It hits me. I can't get out. Every way is already locked, and I never even saw it happen. A week later. At first, I think everyone's just busy. Dylan, my go-to guy for bad movie nights and greasy takeout, starts answering my texts less and less. Sorry, slammed with work. Rain check, man. It turns into radio silence within a week. I try others. Jamie from upstairs, people from college, even the barista at my favorite coffee shop who used to ask about my day. Everyone gives me the same blank, distant smile. Some won't meet my eyes. Others cross the street when they see me coming. At the office, the energy changes. People start whispering as I walk by. Conversations stop when I enter the break room. I ask Paula if she wants to grab lunch like we used to, and she blurts, "Sorry, I can't. Something came up," before I can even finish the sentence. Even my mom seems off. She calls less, and when she does, she's distracted, always in a rush, voice brittle around the edges. "You okay, honey?" she asks, but before I can answer, she's saying, "I'll call you later," and hangs up. After a while, it's just me in my shadowy apartment, eating takeout alone, the silence pressing in. It feels like the whole world's turned its back overnight. The only person who ever reaches out anymore is Owen. And that, I realize, is exactly how he wanted it. A few days later. It's coming down like the world's ending. Rain pelting sideways, thunder echoing off the buildings. I left my umbrella at the office because, of course I did. My phone's dead from over-Googling how to get out of a non-refundable lease and cheap bus tickets out of state. I'm hunched under the bus stop awning, soaking wet, cold down to my bones, ready to scream at the entire city. That's when a black car pulls up. My first instinct is to turn away, but the window rolls down and lights up Owen's face. He doesn't look angry. If anything, he looks relieved. "Get in," he says, and it's not even a question. I hesitate, stubborn to the last, but I'm shivering. My teeth won't stop chattering, and the bus isn't coming. So I slide into the passenger seat. Instantly, warmth and the faint smell of his cologne wrap around me. He's got the heater blasting, and there's a brown paper bag on the console. My favorite curry from the Thai place across the street from my apartment. "How did you..." I start, but he just glances at me with this gentle, almost shy look. "I saw you leave the office. Figured you'd need a ride. And dinner. You forget to eat when you're stressed." I know I should be creeped out, that every part of this is textbook wrong, but as much as I want to lash out, no one else has even noticed if I've eaten lately, let alone what my comfort food is. We drive in silence. He doesn't try to touch me, doesn't fill the silence with questions or explanations. Instead, he turns on my favorite playlist. I don't remember ever telling him about it, but it's queued up. Every song right. With the lights reflected on the wet streets and the city blurring by, I feel the knot in my stomach loosen. I drift off, lulled by the hum of the engine and the familiar notes of a song only I should know by heart. When I wake up, we're parked safely outside my building. He hands me the bag of food without a word. I don't thank him. I don't need to. There's too much unsaid in the space between our hands as they brush. 3 days later. Nights are the hardest. My little apartment, which used to feel like home, is huge and echoing now. Every ticking clock too loud, every shadow a little too deep. I keep checking that the locks are turned, even though I know if Owen wants in, he'll get in. Some nights I try to get mad, to stoke the sense of outrage, to repeat I'm not his project, not some prize he gets to keep, but it doesn't stick. Instead, I replay every weird, kind thing he's done. The car in the rain, buying me a pen I never said I wanted, bringing me coffee just right on the day I felt my worst, the safety he promises, even when it feels like a trap. I catch myself searching for him in crowds, pausing before I open my front door, half wanting to find another anonymous gift or note. It should disgust me. Instead, I feel this rush, fear and excitement tangled up, impossible to separate. Nobody has ever cared this much or this completely, not even my own family. One night, in a moment I wish I could take back, I stare out the window at the city, phone in hand, Owen's contact open. I think about texting him, just to see if he'll answer, just to know he's out there, because at the end of the day, I'm lonelier without his obsession than I am with it. That's when I realize I'm not just trapped. Part of me, the scariest part, is starting to want the cage. A week later. I corner Owen in his office, the first time I've ever felt brave, or maybe just desperate enough. The city outside is slate gray, pouring rain, but in here, there's just the two of us and the truth I can't keep swallowing. I know what you've been doing, I say, my voice trembling but refusing to break. The hidden files, the gifts, the texts, you orchestrated everything, didn't you? Even my job here. He doesn't deny it. No excuses, no panic. He just sets down his pen, leans forward, and looks right at me with those green eyes that used to feel safe, but now, honestly, scare the hell out of me. I did, Owen says, quiet but steady. I've wanted you for a long time, before you even knew who I was. The silence stretches, heavy. My skin crawls and my heart flips over in my chest. Why? Why me? He sighs, runs a hand through his black hair. You remember that college business pitch? The one you gave in junior year at the city auditorium? My breath catches. I haven't thought about that night in ages. Yeah? I say warily. I was there. I was on the judging panel, privately. You didn't see me. He gives a small, almost embarrassed smile. Everyone was pitching apps and data. You got up there and talked about building something that actually mattered. I watched you, nervous and stubborn, biting your lip, refusing to back down even when that one judge interrupted you 3 times. He pauses, softer now. Nobody else in the room saw you, but I did. I feel cold all over. So you remembered me? That's why I got this job? A slow nod. After that, I looked you up. I started following your work, your life. I started wanting you in ways I knew weren't fair. By the time Stratos Tech needed to hire, I'd already made up my mind. You were the one. I had to have you. I made sure of it. All the air in my body feels squeezed out. Part of me is sick. Part of me can't help feeling seen in a way no one's ever bothered to see me. It's wrong. It's terrifying. But it's brutally honest. This is madness. My voice barely audible. A muscle ticks in his jaw. Maybe. But that's because you're everything. I can't let the world have you. I need you safe. I want you with me. I wouldn't ever hurt you, Austin. Ever. I take a shaky breath. You can't own me, Owen. You don't get to decide who's safe or who I see or what I do. You have to let go. You have to stop. Stop controlling everything. If you can't do that, I'm gone. For real this time. He stands, something breaking open across his face. I see fear in him, for once. Real, raw fear. If that's what it takes, he says, voice rough. I'll try. I'll really try to stop. I can't lose you. I want to be angry, and I am. I'm furious. But the way he's looking at me, like nobody ever has, makes something inside me ache. I nod, slow. If you mess this up, I'm done. No second chances. You say you care? Prove it. Let me live. We stand there, breathing in the same sharp air, something new and shaky stretching between us, scarier and more honest than anything before. For the first time, it feels like I have a say, maybe even a choice. Current day. The past couple of weeks have felt new, in a good way. It's like Owen and I are fumbling our way toward being regular people, whatever that means for us. He hasn't shown up at my door in the morning, uninvited, for nearly 10 days, something I never thought I'd even notice, let alone appreciate. My texts actually stay private, my calendar is my own again. At work, he's polite without hovering, and when I go home, the silence feels like a small miracle. He's trying, and I can see just how hard it is for him. Sometimes he looks like he's physically holding himself back, jaw tight, hands restless, but the effort is real, and I find myself falling before I can even help it. We laugh more. I catch him smiling at me like he can't believe we're here at all. I'm lighter. I sleep better. I start to want him, not out of fear or need, but just because. Sometimes he touches me so gently it makes my chest ache, as if I'm some rare thing he's terrified of breaking. It's Tuesday night, and we're in his massive living room, half watching old movies with greasy noodles balanced on our knees. This should feel perfect, the city glowing outside the windows, rain tapping at the glass, Owen beside me looking almost relaxed, but my chest is tight, like there's something pressing under my ribs. For a while, I focus on the movie, laughing with him and letting myself get lost in how easy it could be. But his hand never leaves my shoulder, and every time my phone buzzes, he glances down, like he's trying to guess who it is. He asks, "Who texted?" Like it's a reflex. Finally, I pause the movie and set my food aside. His eyes snap to mine. "Owen, we have to talk," I say. My voice is low, wary. "I need space." He looked at me, startled. "You have space. You have your apartment, your job." "Not like that. I mean, I need you to stop checking on me all the time. No more secret texts, no popping up at my door with coffee before I even wake up, no tracking my dentist appointments or showing up outside work when I don't ask you to." His jaw flexes and I watch him fight old instincts. "That's how I make sure you're safe." "I know," I say, and surprise myself by reaching for his hand. "But if you want me, really want me, not just someone to protect, you have to let me be my own person sometimes. Can you try?" My voice almost wobbles, admitting I need that, not just the attention. He studies me for a long second, like this is harder for him than any company board meeting, and finally he nods. "I can try. For you, I'll try." Relief hits me so hard my eyes sting. I squeeze his hand and nudge play on the movie again. This time, when he pulls me in, I rest my head on his shoulder by choice. A few days later. Owen drags me to one of his friends' parties, a black tie rooftop thing with twinkling fairy lights, endless glasses of champagne, and people talking about deals I can barely track. For the first 10 minutes, he's glued to my side, introducing me to everyone, his hand protective, okay, possessive, at the small of my back. But tonight, I want to do it differently. I lean over and say, "I'm good. Go talk to your hedge fund buddies. I want to meet people myself." He stiffens, searching my face for a sign that I'm joking, but I hold my ground. Eventually, he lets go, literally, and moves off into the crowd, though I can feel his eyes on me like a sunburn. It feels incredible and terrifying to be on my own, chatting about nothing with strangers, letting someone laugh at my jokes without checking Owen's reaction. I strike up a conversation with a woman named Tessa about her ugly poodle. I try a weird blue cocktail and conquer my fears of the hors d'oeuvre table. Still, every so often, I catch Owen watching me from across the room. Not angry, just focused, sharp, a little jealous. Somebody flirts with me and I see Owen's whole body tense. He sips his drink too fast, but doesn't interrupt. By the end, I'm still buzzing from the power of choosing when I leave. When Owen finally finds me, his eyes are dark, but he just says, "Ready?" "Yeah," I say, and for once it's my decision. On the drive home, he's unusually quiet, his knuckles white on the wheel. There's tension, but also a kind of pride. He's seeing someone new in me, and I'm starting to see that person too. Upstairs, he asks, "Had fun?" And there's a hint of worry in his voice. "Yeah," I say gently, "I actually did." And when he kisses me, it feels different, like I finally have a say, and he knows it. 3 days later. It's 11 p.m. and I'm wrapped in one of Owen's impossibly soft bathrobes, hair damp, toes digging into the thick rug in his high-rise apartment. He moves around the kitchen with practiced ease, making tea and plating overpriced dessert. Everything in his place is perfectly chosen, just like me, I keep catching myself thinking, and I'm not sure if that should thrill me or set off alarms. He brings me chamomile, brushes a kiss onto my scalp, and sits next to me. Hand warm and solid at my knee. It should be too much, but after so many lonely nights, I can't help but lean in. "Owen?" I murmur, almost laughing. Nobody's ever fussed over me like this. He smiles, a little sad, like that surprises him. "Then they were idiots," he says, almost fiercely. His hands are steady, steadying me. We end up on the couch, tangled together in the darkness, only the city skyline for company. His fingertips memorize my skin, always gentle, always certain, like he's cataloging all the parts of me the world never bothered to notice. His attention is intoxicating. It makes me feel real and wanted in a way nothing else ever did. But sometime in the night, when he's already asleep, arm thrown heavy around my waist, I wake up and find my phone on the bedside table, my schedule for tomorrow already printed out and highlighted. I hear him sigh in his sleep. In the dark, I wonder, am I loved? Or am I a thing to be managed, tucked away, preserved? I lie awake, feeling both cherished and unnerved, cradled and caged. In some twisted way, I never wanted anyone more. A few weeks later. Our biggest fight yet starts over something trivial. A lunch he dropped into my calendar that I already said I couldn't make. He insists. I snap. And suddenly, we're both on our feet in the kitchen, voices rising, tension breaking. "I told you I had plans, Owen. You can't just decide for me. That's not how normal people do this," I say, snapping my keys down on the counter. His jaw tightens. "Normal people don't get targeted, Austin. You don't know what's out there. I just want to keep you safe." I laugh, sharp and tired. "And if you wrap me up any tighter, I'll suffocate. I'd rather be in danger than be a shadow in your perfect world." He's silent, hands trembling this time. He hates that I caught him off guard, but finally he says, quietly, "I'm trying, Austin. I really am. You're the first person who's ever made me want to change." I see it then. Not just the power he holds, but the fear. The fear that now, I hold some of it too. I could walk out, slam the door, and never look back. I think he knows it. The control isn't all his anymore. I sit down, breathing hard, and he joins me, defeated. We sit there in the hush, bruised from arguing, but something changed between us. "You want all of me?" I say softly. "You have to let go of some." He nods, fingers finding mine. The next day, when I leave for work, he doesn't text, doesn't pop up in my office. For the first time ever, the silence feels like respect. And for me, it feels like winning. Like maybe I'm not just surviving in his world anymore. I'm starting to shape it too. A few days later. It starts with something dumb. An argument about my best friend's birthday party. Owen tells me he doesn't think it's safe, that too many strangers will be there, that he can't just call the host and reschedule. I laugh, sharp, exhausted. You can't reschedule someone's birthday. This isn't your world to arrange, Owen. He doesn't even flinch, just gives me that look, cold and shuddered, like he's already decided for me. You don't know these people, Austin. I do. I checked. Half of them have records. Some aren't who they say they are. This isn't just about you having fun, it's about staying safe. I can't believe it. My hands start to shake. Stop. Just stop. You don't get to dictate who I see or where I go. I'm not a project. I'm not your pet. He steps closer, pleading but intense. I'm not treating you like a pet. I'm trying to keep you alive. Why can't you see how much I care? I step back. Because caring shouldn't feel like a prison, Owen. You're always there. Even when you're not in the room, you're in my phone, my schedule, my head. My voice cracks. I love you. I don't know when, how, but I started loving you, but I'm also suffocating. He just stands there. All of that power, all that control, and for once, he's helpless to use any of it. Austin. I shake my head, angry tears stinging my eyes. No, I'm done. If this is what loving you looks like, I don't want it. I grab my jacket, keys rattling in my hand. For a split second, I expect him to stop me, to beg, to block the door like he always would before. But he doesn't. He just lets me go. I walk out into the cold night, the city lights harsh and blurry, heart hammering, utterly alone but finally free enough to breathe. A few weeks later. The first weeks are brutal. Every room in my new apartment feels too big and too empty. The silence is so deep I almost want to scream just to hear an echo. I binge terrible shows and eat cereal standing up because the idea of cooking for one makes my chest ache. Every time I grab my phone, I have to remind myself not to scroll to Owen's name. My fingers itch to text him something, anything, just to know he's out there. Even after everything, some part of me misses his voice, his touch. The certainty of being known by someone so completely, it was almost scary. But I force myself to do things I haven't done in months. I go for runs without checking shadows. I invite Dylan over for video games and actually keep the plan. No mysterious cancellations, no interruptions. I let myself wander the city just because I can. Some days I feel good. A real kind of good. Not just the absence of bad. I buy ugly, bright curtains, fill my fridge with the food he hates, and sleep spread out across the whole bed. But even after months, when I pass a black car on the street or hear a song that once played in his apartment, my body goes tight. I miss him. I miss the thrill, the heat, the way he looked at me like I was the only thing on earth. I shouldn't, but I do. A part of me feels lighter, learning how to stand on my own again. But even as the ache dulls, the empty space he left behind never quite closes. A few months later. It's a gray Tuesday, with the kind of rain that's more mist than drizzle. I leave work early and wander to my favorite coffee shop. Chip tables, string lights, the chill in the air. I order something warm and just hope he's not in my chest the way he's always been. But when I push the door, Owen's there. He stands by the window, hands deep in his pockets, shoulders a little slouched. His hair's longer, and he looks older. Maybe sadder, and definitely softer than before. For a second, I freeze. I could turn around, but I don't. I walk up till we're inches apart. I could smell the rain on him, and the cologne I remember too well. Hey, I say quietly. He meets my eyes, uncertain but steady. Hey, Austin. We stand there, just looking at each other. The shop bustles in the background, but it's like there's only us. He clears his throat, fingers fidgeting. I should tell you, I've been seeing a therapist. I'm trying really hard to get better. I don't want to be the person I was before. To you or to anyone. He hesitates, then looks down. You know, when I was 17, I lost my parents. Thought I was fine, but I just closed off. The first person I let in after that, I messed it up. I lost him too. Then you showed up, and I got so scared of losing again. I tried to control everything. That wasn't love. I know that now. He sniffles a little, eyes shiny. But I still want you. If you'd have me, if you'd choose me, this time I'd do it right. Suddenly, it's simple. There's nothing twisted about the way he's looking at me. Not hunger, not obsession, just hope and heart. Austin, he says, just my name. But there's a world in it. For what feels like a long time, neither of us talk. The city noise hums around us, and all I can think of is how different he looks. Older, tired, but somehow less guarded, like he's shed an old skin. Finally, he speaks again. His voice is gentle, low. You're not mine. Not unless you want to be. I meant what I promised. That's not who I am anymore. His hands are in his pockets, shoulders slightly hunched. He means it. Every word. And it lands somewhere deeper than I want to admit. I look him up and down, scanning for any of the old traps or twisted games. There's only honesty and an ache I recognize because I feel it too. I swallow, scared but more sure than I ever been, and tell him, I never stopped wanting you. I just needed to be the one to choose. He lets out a shaky laugh, blinking quickly. Always. Your way, your time. I step in and hug him, and he hugs me back, strong but gentle. In that moment, it's not about being possessed or protected. It's about standing together, brand new, nothing hidden. I press my forehead to his and breathe in the warmth of him. This time, when I kiss him, it's soft and honest and sure. And all I can think is, we're both choosing this now. For the first time, it really does feel like love. The end. Do you believe love can change people? Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become a part of our Rainbow Force, and stay wholesome.